Okay, so the fifth parami, the fifth perfection, is the perfection of effort. And of course, this is something really important because the effort you make gives forth that much result. So if you don't make any effort, you don't get any result. And again, something you can't deny. You can go to retreats and you can go to monasteries and you can spend your time in bed, I suppose. Not on our retreats, we come and find you, but yeah, or you can spend yourself in the Dharma hall sleeping. That's not really useful for you, because you want to brighten the mind. So to do that, you need to apply effort. So there are two kinds of effort that we speak about. The first is just the physical, mundane effort, which is the effort to, let's say, to wake up in the morning with the intention to meditate. And even if you're really tired, because it can happen, of course, that you're really tired and that you don't really want to get out of bed. And Mara, of course, your old friend Mara, is sitting next to the bed reading the newspaper, just waiting for you to wake up to say, you don't have to get up if you don't want to. You've had a hard day, and it's a long day today coming up, so it's better if you stay in bed. Now, sometimes he's right. You have to have balance in your life. It doesn't seem to make sense to wake up at 5. I mean, I did all this, but it doesn't seem to make sense to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then be so exhausted through the day that you can't do your work properly. So you have to find that balance. But when we speak about the right effort, what we are speaking about is the effort to get to your cushion, in this illustration, in the morning. So you wake up, you ignore Mara, you don't pay any attention. This is your plan. You only get up, you put on your simple clothes to go to your cushion. This is what I used to do. And then I would simply, I suppose, splash my face with some cold water and go downstairs, and I would sit in front of my shrine, this statue my teacher gave me, and probably burn some incense. And then I would chant for like 20 minutes, and then I would take my posture, and then I'd sit for an hour. And all of this before going to work. It was important for me. I think that when I found this Dharma path, or it found me, maybe that's more realistic to say, I never made an effort in any aspect of my Dharma life for the next thing to appear in front of me. It seems it just happened. I used to play my guitar in folk clubs when I lived in Cardiff, and there was a competition. And so I entered this competition, and I got through the first round, playing my guitar, playing some songs that I'd written. I mean, I was sort of 18 years old, long hair, and searching for the meaning of life, something like this. And there was a woman who, so I went on to the second round, and I got knocked out very quickly. And there was an older lady sitting next to me, and she had the same thing. She got knocked out. But we began to speak, and she was a little bit crazy, so I liked her immediately. And then she said, oh, I've given my house over to the transcendental meditation people. And I was interested in that because the Beatles had already made it popular. And she said, yeah, you should come and see us. And I didn't really want to travel halfway across the city. I didn't have any transport. I said, so where do you live? And it turned out to be the next street to me. And the whole of my life has been like that. I haven't had to make any real effort. I didn't have to climb a mountain. The mountain came to me. So I went there, I learned transcendental meditation. It was wonderful. Then one day, walking through the city centre, I saw a sign for Zen meditation. Oh, that's what I want to do. I thought transcendental meditation was fine, but it didn't require a lot of effort. And so I went to do Zen, which required a lot more effort, which fitted me very well. I had this ascetic streak in me, so sitting with pain and sitting on like a fire almost felt like, not a real fire, of course. That is excessive. And so that suited me. And then I had a broken relationship. So I went back to the Isle of Man, where I come from, yes, where I was born. And I had no teacher, but for 7 years I just sat. I found that effort. But it didn't seem like dramatic. Oh, you poor thing, you were alone for 7 years without a teacher. How did you manage? I don't know, I just went to my cushion every day and meditated. And I really did get frustrated sometimes, but what to do? Something took a hold of me. The Dharma became bigger than Mara, let's say. And so I did that, and then, to make a long story short, I met my teacher. And the moment I met him, or on that first evening, there was a connection. And then by the end of that retreat, really, I was ready to throw myself at his feet and please teach me, because whatever you're manifesting, that's what I want. And so I didn't have to make a big effort to find the things that I wanted, but then to maintain them. Of course, I had to make the effort. I had to, if I wanted to meditate for 2.5 hours a day, I had to get up very early in the morning. I had to meditate until quite late at night. And I had to find this half an hour at work in the factory when I worked there. So the first part of the right effort is that physical effort to get to your cushion, however many times a day it's going to be, 1 or 2 or more or whatever, to take your posture, to shuffle around like people like to do, shuffle around, and then surrender. And that requires an enormous effort to arrive at your cushion without ambition, without any desire for something to happen. People don't really understand this. This is why our practice, this bare attention practice of the Buddha, is so difficult to do, because it demands that you give up any ambition. So you come in the Dharma hall and you, well, why am I even here? I want things to be different in my life. I want understanding to arise. I want to know about rebirth and reincarnation and all these different things we hear about. And yet the teacher says, just sit and be with the mind as it manifests. Don't get involved with it, but just be with the mind as it manifests. But that's the point. All the answers that you seek are there. They're not outside, and they're not in books. They may be written down, but reading about them, as I just said, Panya, knowing about Dharma is not the same thing as knowing Dharma. And that's where our effort takes us, to this place where we take our posture and then surrender. We just let go of any idea, any ambition. How long should we sit for? Well, until the bell rings. In the old days, we were not allowed to wear watches in the Dharma hall. And even my teacher didn't wear a watch, but he had it in his hand, of course. We were always grateful when he rang the bell. But, we were not supposed to bring watches. Why? Why would you wear a watch on retreat? What value can it possibly have? The bell tells you what you're doing. The whole day is governed by the bell. So that's the first part of effort, of right effort, if you like, from the Eightfold Path. It's called right effort, but here it's called the perfection of effort. To make, if you like, Dharma and the practice of Dharma, which is really our meditation and then our morality, Sila, Samadhi, which is a meditation leading to Panya, wisdom. So to make that the most important thing. So you're not going to be lost in life. You're not going to be confused or overwhelmed by what life presents to you. Oh, wouldn't the next thing be wonderful? And then the thing after that and the thing after that. The most important thing when we have right effort is our Dharma practice. Not that we have to sit like this, but that we cultivate the attitude of everything I'm meeting is an opportunity to practice. Everything. Every single thing. Every good thing that happens to me is an opportunity to practice. If we pay attention to it, what can we see? It's impermanent. That's enough practice. Again, people don't really understand the depth of anicca because of the way it's translated. It means change or impermanence. But you have to understand that the mind doesn't change. The mind is change. It's not something that changes. It is change itself. Life doesn't change. Life is change. I know this might be a bit subtle, but it's worth reflecting upon. Life doesn't change. Life is change. The mind doesn't change. Mind is change. So everything we meet, if we have the right effort, then we can see that it's our teacher, something pleasant or something unpleasant. We can see its nature is to be impermanent, to arise and pass away, that we can grasp at it, but it will always disappoint us because of the nature to be impermanent. And so we experience unhappiness. So the right effort takes us to this place where we can be with things as they are. And if they're pleasant, we can enjoy them. And if they're unpleasant, we can be with them peacefully, without trying to change them or make them better or worse according to our desires. The next kind of right effort is included in the Eightfold Path as part of the meditation practice. It is the effort required in our meditation to see the nature of this moment of mind. And if it's something, if it's say a thought, and if a thought is unwholesome, then it is to see that this thought is unwholesome and it has no value, so I dismiss it, I let it go. Do you understand? It is just to see the quality of this moment of mind. If it's not, let's say wholesome, then we just let it go, or we dismiss it. We take any energy away from it until it falls away. And if it's wholesome, if it's a wholesome thought, then you can empower that. You can give it some energy, and you can see where it takes you, if you like. It's not that all thoughts are wrong. It's just in the meditation that we shouldn't get involved with them. But what we learn through the meditation stays with us in our daily life also. It's not that our meditation should be a practice like a light switch going on and off. What we understand on retreat, what we understand by sitting like this every day, is that we live in a universe where everything is impermanent. All right, that's fine. But it's not just impermanent when you're sitting in meditation. It's impermanent in every moment. Every thought, mood, feeling, and emotion is impermanent. It's rising, passing away, rising, passing away. The same with the body itself. Your youth is arising and then it passes away, and then your middle age, and then your old age, and then finally death. And it's all right. It's all right, provided we have the panya, the wisdom to accept the reality of things, and then the effort to continue until we reach the end of our journey. That's a question. Where do you think the end of your Dhamma journey is? What would you say? Well, it should be awakening, because ultimately that's the goal. But then you're told, well, don't have a goal. Just do the practice. So you have to find this, again, this balance in this paradox of to do the practice without having a goal, but doing it because you want the goal at the end of it. So you have to understand that as well. So right effort is, not right effort, the perfection of effort, the Viriya parami, is again something really important, and no one can do it for you. All these things you have to cultivate for yourself, but no one can. We can encourage you, of course. We can shout at you, we could hit you with sticks like in Zen, but we don't do that. And this is something from my tradition that I learned from my teacher. I said it earlier, but if you went to the monastery, you went to train, because there's no other reason to go there. If you went on a retreat, I mean, if you visited, that was something else. You were always made very welcome. But if you go to the monastery for a retreat, then you're expected to do the work. You're not expected to lie in bed, because that's why you went. And if you don't do the practice, then you're taking somebody else's place that maybe could have gone. And it's the same with our retreats. You are welcome, and we like to see you there. But when you're there to do a particular work, which is to sit and walk, cultivating and deepening your mindfulness practice and your loving kindness practice and your slow moving. Why? Why do we encourage you to make that effort all the time? Because it's the best for you. That's, it's like a disciplinarian but loving father. It's something like that. We want the best for you. So what's the best? The best is to do the practice as it's been prescribed, as it's come down through history from the Buddha. The Buddha was asked, well, when people come to train with you, what do you do? He said, well, I tell them what they should do. I tell them what they should do. So here we are. First evening on retreat, Isabel is telling you what you should do. Perfect. What if they don't do that? Then the teacher tells you what you should not do. Okay. And then if they don't follow that, what then? Well, then they have to leave because they're not ready for Vipassana retreat. Vipassana retreats are, you know this, you've done enough of them. They're not easy. They demand your effort. So we try to encourage that. And according to all these different lifetimes of the Buddha, that he had to find this effort to make it over and over and over, to sit with pain, to sit with illness, to sit with disappointment and frustration and all the different things that come into the mind. And it's the same with us. The practice of the Buddha was not different from our practice now. The Mara mind is the Mara mind. We have the story of the Buddha meeting Mara. It's not different. His attempts of meditation were exactly the same as ours. He would have pain in his body. He would have difficulties. He almost died according to the traditional story, he almost died through his effort. So he had to find that balance of effort. So we have this last one now, this last one for today, the perfection of effort. And it's something, like all these things, it's something to consider. And it's not really how can I make more effort, but always how can I make the right effort. Again, everything is about balance in our life. So we have to find the balance in our relationships, and then Dharma added to that, and then our own personal effort about, well, how long do I sit, and should I sit for longer, and what practice should I do? Should I do just Vipassana and loving kindness, or should I ask if I should do something else, like the death reflections or reflections on the body? You have to know for yourself, but the most important thing is that you make the effort for practice. Okay, so then I offer this to you this afternoon for your consideration and your reflection, and may you all be well and happy.